Capricorn, welcome to your full moon reading. So the full moon is tomorrow, February 27th. And while I was shuffling the cards, channeling your energy, two cards popped out, so they were off camera. One is take time to breathe out. This is what your overall energy is for the full moon. And the other one is a time for healing. So those are your overall energy. I'm going to get into the tarot portion of the reading and see if we can get more of the story. So what new beginning did the last new moon bring for Capricorn? Ace of Cups. So love is what has manifested for you since the last new moon. And the last new moon was on February 13th. So now what truth has come to light for you? Oh, your cards are jumpy. I like it. Okay. So things that have come to light for you. One of them is the sun. So the sun is the probably happiest card in the deck. It is all about joy, happiness. Everything seems to be going your way. You're loving life. In addition, Judgment came out. So Judgment is the final decision in something. So if you have been thinking something through, whether some sort of issue, problem, or just life circumstance, and you've been trying to come to some sort of resolution, do I do it or not? This card is telling you that you've made that decision. And then we also have the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands is fire energy. She is somebody who is very charismatic and creative and doesn't necessarily have to be female. It's just somebody who embodies that type of energy. But the Queen is very high up there from in the suit. So she is definitely a dominant power. So I'm going to go ahead and get what you need to release during this full moon. So your cards are really jumping. So full moons are a great time to release whatever's not working for you anymore. And what is coming through is the Four of Swords. So interesting. So you need to release taking some sort of rest. So the Four of Swords is all about rest, or it could be some sort of stagnation. So whatever it is that's been happening, whatever this rest relates to, that's what you need to let go of. And it could be just a holding pattern you had yourself in. It may not have been a rest in like a physical rest that you needed this. I'm getting it more of I'm going to wait and see what happens. I'm going to let this ride out. I'm not really sure what to do. That kind of energy. So let's see what is coming up in your near future. So Capricorn, what is coming up in your near future? What is your new opportunity? What is this new opportunity for Capricorn? Wow. So we have justice. So justice is all about balancing. It's just that. It's the scales of justice. It's putting things back into an equilibrium because they were out of alignment. But then there's also the Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Swords talks about some sort of self-imposed restriction. So this is actually coming up as a warning card because you have so many positive cards. I mean, you had from the last new moon some sort of Ace of Cups. So a new love, a strengthening in love, something along those lines. And that's been since about Valentine's Day, if that makes sense for you. But then here you've got this happiness that has come in. It's something that you've realized in the last couple of weeks what it is that truly makes you happy. We've got Judgment about making that final decision, and the Queen of Wands, just that kind of creative, fiery type of energy person in your life. And at the same time, we've got that Rest card. And so a lot of positive things happening here. So this Eight of Swords is actually coming across as a warning. And I'm going to go ahead as soon as I finish all of these cards and do some clarification on these cards, just so we can find out a little bit more about this self-imposed restriction. But it's underneath the Justice. So it could be that the Justice is setting things right here, where you might have had that in the past, where you had yourself in this holding pattern, maybe this rest. And now Justice is saying it's time. So we're putting things back into balance for you. So let me get the final card in the spread, and then we'll go ahead and keep going. We'll clarify more. So what does the universe want Capricorn to know? What message does the universe have for Capricorn? What message does the universe have for Capricorn? Okay. We have the Page of Cups, talks about communication. We have the Knight of Wands and more fire energy, more of that kind of young go-getter type of energy. So the universe is sending you some sort of communication about this type of energy, which is actually reflected over here. So it is something that you have become aware of since the last new moon. And the universe is just telling you there's going to be more communication about it. Page of Cups specifically is like a love communication. So it's just that type of energy. So I'm going to go ahead and start clarifying these cards for you. So I'm going to start with the Ace of Cups. Why is the Ace of Cups here for Capricorn? Ooh, you're getting a lot of major arcana. So the first one that popped out is the Magician. So the Magician is all about manifesting things. So what that means with the Ace of Cups is that you have been wanting some sort of love or renewed love or a deepening, strengthening of some sort of love, and you're actually making that happen now. So this is something that you put out to the universe. I'm ready. This is what I want, and it's happening for you. And the Wheel of Fortune, it also talks about the tide turning. So in the past, you may not have been ready, or you may not have been ready is probably the best way to say, for love or some sort of relationship or something like that in the past. But now the tide has turned and the wheel is now in your favor. And at the same time, as soon as that happened, what you were manifesting came to be. So very, very great cards to have there. So let's come over here. I want to clarify what has come to light for you. Although it does seem pretty clear what has come to light for you. Actually, it's very clear. So maybe I'm just going to clarify this Queen of Wands. So why is the Queen of Wands here for Capricorn? Tell me more about the Queen of Wands. Tell me more about the Queen of Wands for Capricorn. Why is the Queen of Wands here? So the Queen of Wands is clarified by the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Wands is your love interest. So this is actually coming through very clear. This is a fire sign. Doesn't have to be a fire sign because that's what the wands represent. But you also have the cups, which is water signs. So again, this is a very tender, loving, emotionally supportive kind of person. And this is a person who also is a very passionate, creative, charismatic type of person. So your Queen of Cups was clarifying the Queen of Wands. So that's definitely telling me about your love interest. And that just really kind of solidifies that whole space on what's come to light for you. So let's get into the Four of Swords. Why is the Four of Swords here for Capricorn? Let's see if it pops out. Why is the Four of Swords here for Capricorn? Why is the Four of Swords here for Capricorn? The Sun. So you had the Sun here. And now we have it again in another deck. So this is a very strong card. Again, all about happiness, joy, everything else. So whatever this rest was, it actually, or this pause is really how I'm reading it. It kind of showed you the path that's going to make you happy. And so very positive in that respect. So I'm going to come over here. Justice makes sense to me. Let's find out more about this Eight of Swords. So why is the Eight of Swords here for Capricorn? Strength. Okay. So when you put yourself into this self-imposed restriction where you are just not really ready to face whatever it is that you needed to face, you got yourself out of it, and it took some strength. So that is the card that came through here. It's more fire energy, if that means anything to you. So it could have been a person that got you out of this self-imposed restriction or the influence of a person. And then here again with the Justice, and it's all about balancing scales, putting things back into balance, just setting things right in your life. So it did take some strength for you to break free of this self-imposed restriction, but you did it. So, and because you did it, this opportunity in your near future to have things in balance is what is coming for you. So great there. So I'm actually going to clarify what the communication is from the universe for you. Tell me more about the Page of Cups. Why is the Page of Cups here? Why is the Page of Cups here? Why is the Page of Cups here for Capricorn? Why is the Page of Cups here? The Devil. I'm going to get the Knight of Wands and let's see what happens. Try and get more of the story. Actually, that's you. You're the Devil. Not literally. It's Capricorn. So let's get into why is the Knight of Wands here? Cool. Okay. So what I'm seeing here, okay. So the cards that popped out are the Ace of Wands, which is a passionate new beginning. And then what I also received was the Six of Wands, which is all about victory, success in a situation. And I also see the Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords is, it's about being at a crossroads and having to make a decision. So that is all clarifying this Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands, you had to make a decision about this Knight of Wands energy, and this is just a passionate type of person, someone who's just bold, charismatic, isn't afraid to speak their mind, that type of energy here. And so you had to make a decision about this person, but in doing so, the universe is telling you, you have a new beginning or a renewed beginning in love over here and with just passion, and it will be successful. That's what this is saying, that this is going to be successful. And then as far as the Page of Cups, this is the universe trying to communicate to you this crossroads that you are experiencing. So the Devil is you, but it also represents kind of excess and oh my God, I can't even speak. It's like doing things to an excess. So not moderation, very easily kind of addicted to things, but addiction is probably a strong word. It's kind of you overindulge is probably the best way to describe this type of energy. I'm not getting like a full-on obsessive type of energy from this. I'm getting that you kind of allowed yourself to go to some extremes on occasion, and that's what this represents. But you also ended up at a crossroads as to whether or not that's what you wanted to be. And what the universe is trying to tell you with this Page of Cups and all of this fire energy is that letting go, breaking free from this self-imposed restriction and having the strength to do it is actually opening you up to this wonderful happy, passionate beginning with somebody that is going to be victorious. So that is what the universe is trying to tell you for this full moon that happens tomorrow. So Capricorn, that's your reading. See you next time.